in the heavyweight division. Now entering the octagon is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert with a mixed martial arts record of 4-0-0. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 107.7 kilos, 237 pounds. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, please welcome Frank Mir.
A very trimmed down, minus about 15 pounds of body fat, Frank Mir. He is more confident than ever. We have seen him. I'm talking about the excellent submission. Very agile for a heavyweight, and he's displayed it before. He continuously works on his striking skills.
A love for striking, but still a ruling of the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the slimmed down Vegas boy, Frank Mir. This will be the first time he doesn't fight in front of the hometown crowd.
And his opponent now entering the octagon is a ballet judo expert with a mixed martial arts record of 12-5-0. Standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 99.5 kilos, 219 pounds. Fighting out of Sunderland, England. Please welcome the Machine, Ian.
Look at that view. This place is tailor-made for this octagon, and Freeman says it's tailor-made for him.
Ian Freeman, undoubtedly this is the biggest fight of his life, and with that, with the pressure and the opportunity, victory is paramount.
It feels weird, but it feels like a lot of pressure also. A lot of pressure to win. Because I can win all the time in America, nobody knows about it. I lose once in England, everyone thinks I'm a failure.
He's right. Will he lose here though? The Machine is back inside the UFC. Ian Freeman, this is his 4th appearance inside the octagon.
Well, the fans here in their hearts, he is a winner. He is heavy-handed. I watched him spar the other night with UFC champ Josh Barnett. He looked great. He looked stronger than he has before. And as I said, he has been training with Josh Barnett for the last month in preparation for Frank Mir.
If he defeats Mir, it might be with those heavy hands. And it was nearly 100 years ago that boxing first graced the Royal Albert Hall. Now tonight it's mixed martial arts, and here's the tale of the tape. Much older is Ian Freeman, a dozen years. 6'2" is Mir, 237 to Ian Freeman's 5'11", 219. The one thing, though, about the large Frank Mir, he still is cat-like in his quickness, which is why he's so effective with his jiu-jitsu. Our referee, Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we go, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on, come on!
The Machine against Frank Mir. Sunderland, England's own. There's a right, he connected.
Mir looks like he's ready to fall.
Oh my, a high kick by Mir. And Mir wisely shoots.
I got a little tense there. There were some heavy blows being thrown. And look at Mir trying to work for the submission.
And that's his best thing. Oh, left by Ian Freeman.
And Freeman caught him with a big right standing. And Freeman's pushing him against the fence. And look at Mir trying to work his left leg over. Freeman pulls the arm out quickly.
Well, Freeman has said that he doesn't think Mir has ever been tested in pushed in the way that he is going to attempt to push him. And he's pushed him very, very quickly here. Watch the extension all the body here.
That is a very unorthodox knee bar being put on Ian Freeman. And Freeman is up. There's a knee. Another knee.
And another knee. And an uppercut that catches Frank Mir.
Mir is in trouble.
Freeman tearing off. Freeman, another right. He gets ahead, another uppercut to Frank Mir, an undefeated UFC fighter.
That knee just bent Frank Mir over.
That's it. Next time you're going out.
Many people have written off Ian Freeman as the older guy. Look at Mir. He dropped his hands completely trying to pull that leg in.
Well, he knows he doesn't. He knows. Maybe he thought before. Now he knows he doesn't want to go toe-to-toe with Ian Freeman.
He's got full mount, but he has definitely slowed down. He has the arm trapped.
This is where Freeman can be vulnerable.
And Mir looks very stunned right now.
Flip right over the top.
Mir looks very stunned.
Can he get the heel? Can he get the knee? Oh, a big right by Ian Freeman. And another and another. He is teeing off Ian Freeman. Mir wants the submission.
Oh.
Can he get the leverage on the ankle?
Freeman's been working the leg game with one of the best. Josh Barnett, look out for the outside heel hook.
That's a great point.
Look at Freeman.
Freeman with the right. It's the puncher punching and the submission man trying to submit. Does he have any leverage on it, Jeff? Obviously not.
He got out. Mir got stunned in the opening seconds, and I am not sure if he's recovered. He is slowed down. The triangle looks slow, and Freeman's getting out.
McCarthy telling Freeman to let Mir up. A left. And Mir tries to shoot again.
I think,
Big left and a right by Ian Freeman.
Mir completely rethought about standing up with Freeman and shot in for the takedown.
Last time in the octagon for Ian Freeman, September of 2000.
But that is a heavy right.
Freeman at 220 pounds, rock solid, knows this opportunity is the biggest of his lifetime. As he said quickly, if he wins overseas, nobody knows. If he loses in England, he's considered a failure.
Freeman just riding on him. I don't think he should go for submission against a guy like Mir because Mir can quickly reverse it. Keep throwing the strikes like he's doing.
You don't want to get overzealous with Frank Mir.
And there's some heavy forearm shots. Mir is in trouble.
45 seconds remaining in round one. Freeman trying to stop it. Mir pushing away.
Frank spitting out the mouthpiece and a big left hand. Mir trying to go for knee bar, and he looks exhausted.
Ian Freeman spent over 6,000 pounds in training expenses for this fight.
Mir can barely stand up. He cannot even stand up.
Timeout called. Frank Mir goes down again. Will they have to call it? The doctor's going to come in and look at Frank Mir.
You want to continue? You want out? You want to continue?
It's over. It's all over. McCarthy has stopped the fight. Ian Freeman has defeated Frank Mir.
And this crowd is indescribable, Mike.
They are on their feet again.
I almost said during the bout that before it started, Frank Mir was the most confident I've ever seen as this crowd picks up the Freeman chant. And Mir never recovered from the opening seconds, but he held on the best he could.
And here are the opening seconds. As the Machine raises his arm in victory, once the fight was stopped by Big John McCarthy, and this concert hall, home to so many great events, the Royal Albert Hall, a bipartisan English crowd, loves what they saw here.
Look at these right hands. Mir going for an inside heel hook. And Freeman tagging away. It's time to give up that submission to defend the strikes.
This building is electric.
And here it's where he was walking back to the corner. A glazed over look, and Mir just collapses. People wrote off Ian Freeman. He was an unbelievable underdog on many of the sports books, and he just made a lot of people a whole lot of money.
When asked if he went to college and earned a degree, as Frank Mir is just fine. Ian Freeman said, "I went to the University of Life and I got honors." He earned honors tonight. Up to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 4 minutes 35 seconds of the very first round, referee Big John McCarthy has stopped this bout for the winner from Sunderland, England, the Machine, Ian Freeman.
So Ian Freeman, the Machine, back in the UFC and wins in impressive fashion over young Frank Mir. Here's Ryan Bennett.
Wow, what a performance. This guy was a heavy underdog going in, but he showed why he is back in the octagon. Ian, congratulations, first of all. And take me through this fight, man. You landed some big bombs early, and it just seemed like you stayed on him the entire time.
Sorry to go off your question, but I've just got one thing to say. Yo, England, I did it!
Ian, here's the replay. Let's show you, take us what happened here.
I knew he was going to start throwing big kicks and punches to put me off balance, to take me down. I was ready for the sprawl, and I knew if I connected with big punches, I could cut him, maybe even knock him out.
Ian, you had a guy named Josh Barnett in your corner. Talk about how important he was to help you out in this fight.
Josh Barnett is a godsend. I went to train with Josh for 4 weeks in Seattle. I hated him at the time because he put me through hell. But Josh is now my brother. I love him to bits, and I will be back. Can I just say one thing? My father, I dedicate this fight to my father. He is lying in a hospital bed dying of cancer. I was going to throw the fight because a week before I came here, my father was rushed in. He had cancer of the brain and ended up blind. So for you, Daddy, I love you.
Well said, well said. Ian, one more question. Who do you want to fight in the heavyweights? Who out there do you want to fight, man? What's next for you?
I'll fight whoever's up, forgive me. I'm ready to fight anyone. Hopefully Josh will still train me. I need a couple of fights before I get to the title, maybe. Well, I'll fight whoever they put in front of me.
London's own Ian the Machine Freeman. Frank Mir is up on his feet. He's back in the locker room now. Let's go back to Mike at ringside.
Hoisted out in front of this British crowd in the 130-year-old Royal Albert Hall. Treated like the Beatles were in 1963 when they had their first concert here. And a thank to Josh Barnett. Our prayers, our thoughts are with Ian's father, who Ian says is his hero. Ian's father, an ABA boxing champion, and at age 18 was the one who started Ian Freeman boxing. Fighting now again in a much larger fight. Our prayers are with the Freeman family. This was his night, the one he trained his entire life for. The British can be cruel when things do not go their way. They can be critical, but they will have nothing to criticize Ian Freeman about after that absolutely spectacular performance. Chuck Liddell giving him congratulations, along with Don House, the fine boxing coach of Tito Ortiz. Freeman taking his time, as thus he shall, because he has earned this walk of pride. Right now it's Hughes and Newton, and certainly what Carlos Newton wants to do is move that one step up the ladder.
I think Carlos Newton has more weapons in his submission arsenal, obviously, than Matt Hughes. But Matt Hughes is a neutralizer. He comes from one of the best camps out there who can neutralize their opponents and cause them to lose. And he's done it to so many people. And tonight, I haven't looked forward to a fight like this in a very long time. This is one I've been dying to see. Well,
certainly the most dramatic finish in UFC history occurred in November 2001 at the MGM Grand. And since that day, Carlos Newton has felt that his belt was on loan. It was only in the house of Matt Hughes temporarily. Well, for the belt to move back to Canada and around the waist of Carlos Newton, he needs to defeat Matt Hughes here tonight.
The last time they met, the octagon shuddered from the force of a tremendous slam. And when it came to rest, the welterweight title had changed hands. Tonight, they take to the octagon for one more explosive fight for the championship. At UFC 31, Carlos Newton became the UFC welterweight champion, defeating legendary champ Pat Miletich by submission. Miletich later gained revenge when his protege, Matt Hughes, defeated Newton in a controversial finish to become the champion. Did Hughes slam Newton, or did he simply fall because Newton had choked him unconscious?
He's out! He's out! He's out! Hughes had the look of disbelief on his face. Look at it! He didn't even know he won the title, Mike.
I remember if he jumped on those and it's over. But I thought he meant for Matt. Oh, my God. Oh, crap.
You're gonna have to excuse me. I'm just waking up from a dream. Guys, this is awesome.
I thought I choked him out. I believe that was the only reason he fell to the ground. Seems to me they were both out.
Newton got back on track by going to Japan and defeating highly ranked Brazilian fighter Jose Pele Landigians by submission. Newton is hungry for the rematch, feeling physically and mentally ready to retake the title. Pound for pound, Matt Hughes is one of the strongest champions the UFC has ever known. And with a mixed martial arts fighting record of 26-3, Hughes utilizes both incredible strength and experience to defeat his opponents. Known for his explosive takedowns, Hughes has also shown a flair for crushing punches. He proved it by destroying longtime top contender Hayato Sakurai in his first title defense. Now, he's ready to prove he has the heart and power of a champion. Was Matt Hughes' victory over Newton a fluke? Who is the best fighter in the world at 170 pounds? Let's find out. Coming up next, the battle of the evening, Carlos Newton versus Matt Hughes for the Ultimate Fighting Championship welterweight title.
I've got no problem with a rematch here. In fact, I don't think anyone in the fighting world has a problem with the fact that we are about to have the welterweight championship fight, Hughes and Newton again.
Carlos Newton is a ball of energy, explosive, and certainly skilled.
Carlos Newton.
The man I always say, he's not quick. He is sudden. 2 steps ahead of his opponent in almost every mixed martial arts competition. Carlos Newton, he has displayed them many times on many different continents. Excellent at submissions. The chin made of iron and unbelievable conditioning. I can't wait for this one. I'm almost speechless about this.
Creative and introspective, to say the least. His heroes, Muhammad Ali, Albert Einstein, and Batman. Well, will he be robbing Hughes of his title here tonight? It's time for the champion to enter the octagon.
Champion of the world, Matt Hughes!
Look at the strength of Matt Hughes. He brings him to
And now, entering the octagon, the champion, Matt Hughes!
They do some farming in Illinois. No doubt about it. Tonight, can he plant Carlos Newton into the ground? He did it numerous times. An excellent wrestler. And pound for pound, the strongest athlete in mixed martial arts, in my opinion. And he has worked on those striking skills.
Not often is the champion the underdog, but that's the case tonight. Hughes ever improving with his striking under the tutelage of Pat Miletich. As Carlos Newton and Matt Hughes have waited since that moment, shortly after the second round in November, to do it again. Tail of the tape. Welterweight championship tonight from London, England. Hughes is 28, Newton 25. Everything else is equal. For the official introductions for this, our main event, the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this UFC Championship bout is sanctioned by BAMA, the British Association of Mixed Martial Arts, with Mr. Dale Adams, Commissioner. Our judges at Octagon side are Mr. Cecil Peoples, Mr. Nelson Hamilton, and Mr. Jeff Mullen. This event is sponsored by the Gordon Biersch Brewing Company. Beer like it ought to be. And now, it's time to begin the brawl at Royal Albert Hall. Tonight, 2 men have entered the octagon, and only one will leave a champion. This fight is 5 rounds for the UFC Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, the fighter standing to my left. He is an expert in Dragon Ball Jiu-Jitsu and the former UFC welterweight champion, being the first Canadian fighter to ever win a UFC championship. He holds a mixed martial arts record of 11-5-0, standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 76.6 kilograms, 169 pounds. Fighting out of Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, he now brings his Dragon Ball power of the sun into the octagon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Ronin, Carlos Introducing the fighter, standing to my right. He is a militant fighting systems expert with a mixed martial arts record of 26-3-0. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 77 kilos, 170 pounds. Fighting out of Hillsboro, Illinois, he is the UFC welterweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Matt Hughes. And when the action begins, our referee in charge is Big John McCarthy.
We have waited months for this night to arrive and for this fight to begin. Carlos Newton, the challenger. Matt Hughes, the champion. Our referee, Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we go. UFC Welterweight Championship. Are you ready for it? Are you ready? Let's get it on.
They
Come on,
continue
guys.
and try to put a positive ending to the battle that began in November.
It was all smiles at the weigh-ins, but that was one of the most intense stare-downs I've seen. Hughes throwing a kick.
Man, there was a serious stare down, too, and a look in the eyes of Carlos Newton as Buffer made the official introductions. Hughes will look to engage.
Newton fighting a very, very patient fight. Double jab. Hughes backs away.
Well, when he won the title initially against Miletich, he was losing the striking battle to Pat Miletich.
Look at
that. Hughes got a shot in, and Newton's down, but Hughes is in the half guard.
Newton went for a takedown for a change, and now Matt Hughes shows that tremendous wrestling balance.
Let's go.
Look, you know, we talked about that the last few days. When you're a wrestler and you've done this thousands of times, you just don't lose that balance. You don't lose that great center base, and Hughes demonstrated it there. Watch the arms.
He's got it. He's got it.
Can he finish it? He's getting out. Is it over? Oh! Hughes is able to avoid the armbar. Oh my! How close was that?
I thought he had it.
Hughes spun with it nicely there, Jeff. Don't give him that. You hear Pat Miletich say. You said it before, he's not quick, he's sudden. And he almost put a real sudden ending to this fight.
Yeah, I didn't think he could even maneuver around the fence like he did. Shot the leg over. Look, he pulls his own foot in. He's using foot in the hip control. This enables him to...
He was trying to tee off and pass guard. But if he overextends those arms, Newton will try to jump on it again.
And he has side control, Newton.
I think Hughes knows he's in for the toughest fight of his life tonight. Because this will be the best we've seen of Carlos Newton.
You know, Matt Hughes may be 170, but he hits like he's a heavyweight.
Oh, unquestionably.
Let's go.
There's a north-south position.
Oh, work it out.
Hughes with that title defense over Sakurai back in March.
Carlos Newton actually went up a weight division when he defeated Pele.
Well, certainly the English love the Canadians, as the Canadians still expose the Queen on their money. And so I think this English crowd will take the side of Carlos Newton.
Look at Newton. Patiently awaiting an opening. Matt Hughes trying to tie that arm up. And Hughes has Newton's right arm. Trying to tie his left arm up, rather.
This whole card tonight, Jeff, live on Sky Box Office, Sky TV here in the UK. We thank our friends at Sky TV and Sky Box Office for their support and belief in the sport of mixed martial arts here across the Atlantic.
He's got his arm out of there. Also live on Wow Wow TV in Japan.
With English commentary again, in which we understand was well received the first time.
Oh, there's the shoulder. He throws the shoulder down.
And don't think there aren't There aren't a bit of shudders that occur on the back of the head when he throws that shoulder down with force. This is the strength mode. This is where Hughes has such a huge advantage over anyone his size, and maybe even some who are a little bit bigger than he. 1 minute remaining in round one. Remember, it's a championship fight, so it's scheduled for 5 minute rounds.
I would be interested to see just how much Carlos Newton has in the final round. I want to see a seesaw battle. I mean, thus far, I give credit to Matt Hughes for getting out of that armbar.
The four-time collegiate All-American in wrestling. His high school football coach is here in support. Of course, his twin brother, Mark, Pat Miletich, the leader of the Miletich Fighting Systems, in his corner. And Newton well surrounded by his supporters.
You know, when you grapple with Matt Hughes, I get the impression. Oh, he's tying it hard.
Oh, wow. Good finish to round one for Matt Hughes.
It's about to say, when you grapple with Matt Hughes, it's got to feel like two guys are just trying to maneuver and out-wrestle you.
Ice pack on my back.
If you're in 69 position, listen to me. Don't let him put his feet on the cage. If he starts changing from half guard to side mount, he's going to keep that position, okay?
You can't let him point you 5 rounds, okay?
Okay, so he can't move his hips on you. All right?
Perfect, man. Don't let him
Hey,
get those angles.
no hesitation on your feet. And if you're going to throw kicks, remember, throw your hands first, okay?
Here we look at it. He's going to fully extend the hips. I thought he had him right when he rolled him here. And look at this, spins out of it. An amazing escape.
And then a strong finish, leaving an indelible impression in the judges' minds. The end of round one.
Tying up the arm, throwing the bombs. And Matt Hughes able to outposition Carlos Newton on the ground in the first round.
The corner's clear. Everton McEwen and Terry Riggs, Dr. Paul Beyondich, Sid the Jewel Vanderpool, as Hughes going in towards Carlos Newton, looking for the big takedown. Good avoidance by Carlos Newton.
Look for the high amplitude slams.
Newton's been doing a lot of boxing training with Sid the Jewel Vanderpool, top 10 ranked professional boxer, but from the ground, that does not matter. And this is where Hughes wants it, ground and pound, side position.
Look at Hughes. Great control of the hips, keeping him in close. Making Newton unable to get his guard back. Look at Newton trying to roll through.
Oh, and he does, but eats a knee in the process. Hughes tangles again. You might just get your chess match that you want here, Jeff. Couldn't throw him, but took him down. And Newton has him in the guard.
Newton almost did a somersault. Looked like a video game. The quick transition back and forth. And this is a chess match. This is as close to playing human chess as you will get in the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Well, the amazing thing is well-trained, especially as these two competitors are, the slightest mistake can mean the end to the night. One mistake. I mean, Pat Miletich felt he was dominating Carlos Newton, made one mistake. Newton got his neck, cranked it in, and Pat Miletich was no longer champion. That loss avenged by Hughes, and now Hughes tries to win again.
Sorry about that, Mike. So much is riding on this for both.
Trap that near arm between your legs.
Rocky II type ending. That's one of the most memorable finishes. You know, we've had some great knockouts, especially one earlier in the card tonight. But that finish that took place at Newton and Hughes won is going to be talked about for a long time.
Just the power and strength, the control of Matt Hughes. But they have to stay busy or McCarthy will stand them up. Trying to get a pin to the fence and apply a little ground and pound here is Matt Hughes. Hughes, the champion.
Hughes is just showing dominance on the ground. I didn't quite expect this from Matt Hughes. Look, he's tying up Newton's arms, not giving him an inch.
Come on, we got to do something. Let's go. Come on, Rap, you're not doing nothing.
A warning from Big John, so let's do something. Look there, he's trying to tie the arm up once again. If he ties it up, he can throw some big rights. He's landing some elbows to the ribs. Carlos Newton.
Newton was all fired up about fighting here in England because he's a linguistics major anyway back in Toronto. So he said, I love the language. I love conversing with the Brits, the eloquence of proper English.
Right through it, let's go.
He wants to put a proper finish to what he thinks should happen in this fight. Trying to spin out of the control of Matt Hughes.
There is some wrestling 101. Hughes has got him pinned. And ties up the arm again. And this has been one of the most respectful crowds. Respectful of the ground game. And there's that push-off elbow.
Side control again.
Keep pushing that down. He's cut. He's cut. Keep going.
Listen to Newton trying to buck him off. He's expending so much air, so much energy.
Well, this is where the strength is such a huge factor. You know, we laugh about it. Matt and Mark fighting on the farm, growing up.
Yeah.
Well documented, described in many different ways.
Make space.
And he's still using those elbows. Milicic yelling, he's cut, he's cut. It's not a big cut at all. Oh, that was a stiff elbow.
Matt's high school football coach told me there were plenty of fighting going on at the Hughes farm. From Hillsboro, Illinois. Bordering Illinois and Iowa. And smothering Carlos Newton here. Final part of round 2.
Newton should try to get to his knees. I think he's going to fight better from his knees. That was,
another big shot. Forearm shot by Matt Hughes.
If Newton didn't get cut off that one, I will be amazed.
And another one. And another big shot by Matt Hughes.
He's got the arms tied up.
The round is over.
And the longer it goes,
Hey, if you
I am
get
not
the
sure
chance,
who
though,
to favor in this
remember, switch back and forth, sit out and trap that leg there. Then you can keep here and just keep fucking punching, okay? You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful, Matt.
Hey,
Can't lose another one. That's a bad cut. That's a bad cut. You got to move, right? You got to circle to your left. Remember? Circle to your left. Take away his shoot. When he goes in for the shoot, you got the counters. Let it go, right?
Your belt.
Right?
Your belt. Okay?
Vaseline. I need a lot of it.
Make it
A
happen.
lot of it. Where? Terry, give me a lot of Vaseline, please.
Give us some water.
Water.
Everton McEwen in the corner saying that is a bad cut. Got to protect the
I need
cut.
Vaseline on my hand.
do that. He's gonna
Put it on the back of my hand. A lot of it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, come.
Why?
Water.
It's
Water.
right
Come on.
underneath the eye. They're not going to stop the fight for a cut underneath the
Come
eye.
here. Come here.
As long as Newton is not on his back and the blood does not leak into his eye. Set to go. Round 3 of a potential 5.
Let's get it on.
The field. Oh! Matt Hughes goes on. Carlos Newton with big rights. And it's back on the ground again. This time, Newton has his guard and he's holding him in tightly. He will be unable to use his hips as he's pressed up against the fence. As Matt Hughes went high with that kick, that's something you will rarely. Oh! And Matt Hughes displaying his dominance once again.
It goes back to the strength factor and that wrestling mentality and his ability to overpower.
Back him off, Carlos.
I will say that Matt Hughes' skills have continuously improved. I take nothing away from him. He is one of the strongest. He has the strength, but he also has skill.
Well, remember his only loss in the octagon was against Dennis Hallman He was armbarred in the first round. He avoided the armbar here tonight.
That is a hard knee to Newton's ribs on the right side.
And another. Come on, keep it going. It took him until the 4th round to defend his title at UFC 36. He's on the same pace here tonight.
He's become a more methodical fighter than he used to be. He used to go in, try to grab the guy, take him down, throw him, smash him into the mat. But he is a more poised and professional fighter now.
Just so patient. And I think that has a lot to do with the mental progression that Matt Hughes has made as a fighter. Not so much the physical progression. Confidence, being a champion, understanding and answering the demands of championship.
I was watching Carlos Newton. It appeared he wanted to go for a knee bar, but Matt Hughes.
Oh, another shot by Hughes. Carlos trying to work a limb. Hughes uses that strength to push through and delivers another shot to Carlos Newton and another after that.
Hughes' submission defense has just drastically improved.
Well, he'll give all credit to Jeremy Horn for that.
I feel that the longer this goes on, the more dangerous Carlos Newton will get.
Why?
He just has that huge arsenal of submissions, and Hughes may get a little confident. I'm not sure. I would. Oh.
A big shot, and he finishes with the push by the elbow, and now comes back with the right elbow on Carlos Newton.
The longer it goes and he absorbs blows like that.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, though, because overconfidence can turn out to be fatal. And you know, Milicic admitted to it.
Look at this. He is working for a mount.
And he has it. And he's got Newton pinned against the fence. Good shot combination. Matt Hughes trying to finish off Carlos Newton much more decisively here tonight.
Big John getting in close, Newton.
Neither fighter wants to leave a doubt when this outcome, be it one way or another, in which it goes, is determined. And so far, it's all the champion, Matt Hughes.
I have never seen Carlos Newton in this much danger in any fight that he has ever been in.
Matt Hughes still has full mount. And as you pointed out, Jeff, look how patient he is with it.
Yeah, he's not getting crazy. I mean, used to, he would just throw anything.
Oh, there's a big left and another left. Continuing to punish Carlos Newton.
Look at this.
Finish. Does he have it?
He's trying to pump it around. Look at that Hughes.
Carlos in the guard of Matt Hughes. But Hughes went for a submission.
I said, look at Matt Hughes, but now look at Carlos Newton.
Newton trying to get his back. Is this the point of overconfidence, going for the submission and allowing the reversal? Will they actually stand up again? Oh, my.
Newton has one hook clearly in.
Look at the clock, though. 17 seconds.
Got 20 seconds. Let's go.
This is that chess match I wanted.
You got it. And so does the entire mixed martial arts world. It's a good thing this didn't happen earlier in the round, because this round is over.
A strong finish for Carlos Newton. But I got to give that round to Matt Hughes.
The minute he went for the submission, Jeff, and maybe that was thinking, all right, I'll get the master at his own traits.
Right?
Bam!
You let him down underneath.
Put him in his first precarious situation.
You're swinging right up the bat, all right? Going low, it's going underneath you.
We're working way out, 4th round. All right?
Okay, let's go.
Come on, he's tired. He's making
these
all
last
sorts
two,
of mistakes.
Okay?
Right? He's making all sorts of mistakes.
Your fucking arm. You can't
Use your
armbar
legs.
it, okay?
Use your legs to buy time to catch a win. Use your
Wet my
legs.
body, wet my body.
What is body? What? Use the
Wet my
towel
head,
disaster.
We got nothing left for you. You
He's
feeling getting
tired.
weaker? Yeah.
If he's crowding inside when you're trying to drop bombs, use some
Look at him. They're
forearms.
working on him, buddy. They're trying to put him back together. Okay? Deep breath.
There you go, guys.
Hey, keep your head clear.
Lots of highlights in that round. Some rugged knees colliding with impact. by Matt Hughes. Let's take a look at this. Here are the heavy-handed shots.
Are you ready? Let's get it on!
As we start this fourth round.
Fourth round here in our welterweight championship fight. Hughes in the red and black trunks. Lerone in the Warrior. Carlos Newton in the white trunks.
Newton.
It's interesting, the corner of Carlos Newton said on numerous times he's getting tired, he's starting to make mistakes. Wait for your opportunity. Will that opportunity come?
Newton looked a little wobbly coming out for that. I don't know if he's playing a game with Matt Hughes. Newton is not a guy who's going to gas.
And Hughes will tell you, neither should he. He said in his recent training he knows the fourth and fifth rounds are going to be mine because he's been doing so much more intensive training since becoming champion. He understands that to not gas gives him an opportunity to hold on to this belt for much longer.
And he gets one leg through Carlos Newton's guard, looking to pass the other right leg of Matt Hughes through. And he could be sneaking up for Mount. Look at that. A beautiful move. Just hopped completely around and ends up inside control. And we're seeing Newton being dominated on the ground where he's most comfortable.
Stick the arm, let's go, push him off, push his face off. High low, Carlos, push his hip in his head.
Carlos Newton concentrated heavily on his striking skills in preparation for this. But was it at the expense of his grappling training?
And we have never really seen anyone show the ability not to be taken down by Matt Hughes. Coleman perhaps, as he earned the armbar early.
I don't think we will ever see Matt Hughes make that same mistake that he did against Dennis Holland. These two are the epitome of ultimate fighters.
Keep working. Let go that
Dragon
glove.
Jiu-Jitsu and the Militich fighting systems. 2 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in what has been a very successful evening here in Great Britain.
Matt Hughes working the forearms and elbows down again. Look at the swelling over the right eye of Carlos Newton. He has a very, very bad cut underneath the eye. If it's open and he's on his back, potentially that blood can come into the eye and hinder Carlos Newton's vision. If it was standing, it would be okay. But on the ground, he's got to be leery of that cut.
Now Newton, who always says he started training in martial arts because some kid stole his lunch money, wants his belt back. But right now, he's going to have to do something drastically different to regain the title.
There's the push-off forearms and elbows again.
Those are starting to take their effect. Hughes is striking from side control without becoming vulnerable with the arms or the limbs, and that's the key, especially against a masterful Carlos Newton.
His arms are tied up.
He's teeing up, and it is over! It's all over! Matt Hughes has defeated Carlos Newton again, and Hughes remains the welterweight champion! John McCarthy stops
Love
the
you guys.
fight.
You're the man. Love you too. Awesome. I got something.
Just wore him out.
Flat out wore him out.
Matt, do you have teeth? Got his teeth?
Tooth. Your teeth.
Your teethus. Let's go in the cage.
You're coming in the cage.
There will be no controversy and no discussion that it leaves any doubt in anyone's mind now.
Had to get you on TV, Steve.
Let's see how he finished it.
Thanks, buddy.
Here he is, both arms tied up. Newton has a look of frustration, and he takes 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's about all it takes in the sport of ultimate fighting. When your arms are tied up and you cannot intelligently defend yourself, it's time to stop playing the game.
He remains the welterweight champion. Matt Hughes.
Thank you for the tape job.
Scary how much this fight ends up being like the one in which he defeated Sakurai. Finally overpowering his opponent with strikes, a stoppage a couple of minutes into the 4th round.
If there were any doubts in anyone's mind, honestly, I had doubts that he could beat Carlos Newton tonight. There are no doubts anymore. Matt Hughes is the best 170-pound fighter in the world today.
Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big hand for these two UFC welterweight warriors. Referee Big John McCarthy stopped this bout due to a tap out at 3 minutes, 37 seconds of the 4th round. For the winner, and still the UFC welterweight champion of the world, Matt Hughes. Let's have a big hand for Carlos Newton.
The belt remains around the waist of our champion, Matt Hughes. 3:37 of the 4th round. Carlos Newton defeated again tonight. He's with Ryan Bennett.
All right, guys, with Carlos Newton now. Carlos, I tell you what, great fight. That 3rd round, it looked like you had a little bit of momentum, but I tell you what, he was so tough tonight. What was the difference in this fight tonight?
Well, I worked in his jiu-jitsu game, which caught me a bit off guard. And he fought with a lot of heart, First time I've ever been beat up like this, and yeah, he's the best.
Carlos, and he even surprised you a little bit with an armbar. Did that shock you when he put an armbar on you?
No, I actually gave him the arm so I'll get out the bottom, and it worked.
Carlos, I know it's just right after the fight, but what can you take from this fight, and what can you do to kind of regroup here?
He's going to push my game to another level. I'm going to be a much better fighter. I did one thing I wanted to do tonight was never give up. And I think by look at my face, you could tell I didn't give up. And, I'll be back.
He will be back. Carlos Newton, very classy guy. Let's go over to the champion. Matt Hughes, the big fella, continues his dominance. He is no doubt, the strongest guy at 170. And Matt, just talk about your fight. It was incredible.
By far, Carlos is my toughest opponent. Without Pat being in the weight class, and I don't know a whole lot about Anderson Silva, there's really nobody to even compare Carlos to. So I tell you, I think it's all in how the cards fell tonight. And I got past that first 30 seconds where he had me in the armbar, and cards just fell my way after that.
You mentioned an armbar. What are you doing pulling out an armbar, man, in that 3rd round?
Most of it was Carlos getting a little fatigued. It really wasn't my technique any.
Let's talk about, what did you learn from the first fight to this fight against Carlos Newton?
I knew I could beat him. I thought I won the 1st round the last time we fought. So I knew if I put 5 of those rounds together, I could come out with a decision. Never did I think I'd even come close to getting Carlos in a submission or even stopping the fight. He's that top-level quality that you want here in the UFC.
Matt, what does it mean for you to finish the fight like you did tonight?
I would rather finish it with a big strike and a KO and a submission than a referee stoppage. But hey, it didn't go 5 rounds, so I'm pretty happy.
What's next for you? You're the champion. Everybody's shooting for you. What do you see out there, man? I
gotta look around. I gotta watch my tail. There's a ton of good guys. You didn't see the fight, Gil Casino and Tony Zuzza. They're going to be tough. Sean Shirk's going to be tough coming through the matches here in the UFC, and I'm just lucky Robbie Lawler's on my team and he won't fight me.
All right, folks, you heard it. He is the champion, undisputed champion of the UFC, Matt Hughes. Mike, back to your ringside.
Great job, Ryan, and a great job done by the champion. No longer is there a doubt. Matt Hughes defeats Carlos Newton. And under this 400-ton dome, Hughes takes a big bit of weight off his own shoulders. John Goldson, our UFC cornerman for a day, obviously feels the disappointment of Carlos Newton, whose corner he spent the day in. To try to become part of the action next time, log on to UFC.tv to enter our Cornerman for the Day contest. And congratulations to John spending some time here in London, England, with Carlos Newton in his corner and being octagon side for this another memorable welterweight title fight.
Getting a round of applause reminiscent of probably Romeo and Juliet, who has played this building several times. As I said, a very respectful crowd, well received here in the UK, and I was proud to be a part of this. A beautiful, beautiful facility.
I think they got the tape on, John. So.
From Dillon to Hendricks to Sinatra, Phil Collins, Diana Ross, Paul Simon. Of course, we talked about Muhammad Ali. Sting and Liza Minnelli. Tonight's night belonged to the welterweights, and in the end, it belongs to our reigning champion, that man, Matt Hughes.
Matt Hughes does it, and does it in impressive and definitive fashion. And just one final point on the reaction to the crowd here at the UK. They got pretty much what they wanted. They got a couple of British victories, and they got some seriously game opponents.
Oh, they got knockouts, submissions. You had great, great human chess matches. Couldn't ask for a better show tonight, and we couldn't ask for a better crowd. I love it here in the UK, and I hope we come back because this building is phenomenal.
130 years old. The debut of boxing was in 1908, and the gates were opened today for the sport of mixed martial arts for the first time in Ultimate Fighting history. A special night indeed. It began, of course, with Philip Miller and James Zeeking. As Miller, the American, taking on the local, the Brit, James Zeeking. He showed some great heart, but in the end, Miller, the wrestler, trained by a former UFC competitor, was too much for the Brit. And how about the entrance and the pageantry shown by Genki Cejudo against Lee Remedios, and bam, how quickly the talents shone through. A show it was, slow it was not. The rear naked choke in the victory for Genki Cejudo. Speaking of quick, Eugene the Wolf Jackson, victimized by Mark Weir in 10 seconds, the fastest knockout in UFC history. Weir, the first Brit to win here in Britain. And then we moved on to Frank Mir, undefeated, his 2 fights taking place in Vegas against the machine, Ian Freeman, who knew this was his coming out party. This was the most important night of his life, and he succeeded with style, with class, with power. Freeman from Sunderland won big. And then the one we waited for, Newton and Hughes. Again, the continuation of the debate which began back in November. Rolling out of an armbar early was Matt Hughes, learning from his loss, his only UFC loss to Dennis Hallman. And then relentless pursuit of his ground and pound tactics. Newton still was in it. He tried to counter. He looked for armbar. He looked for opportunity. But tonight it was not there because Matt Hughes was at his finest. And in his finest, he reigns victorious. Matt Hughes, in the 4th round, would force the referee to stop the fight. And for Carlos Newton, the dream would not come true. And the belt which he believed was on loan continues to be around the shoulder of that man, our champion, Matt Hughes from the UK. So long, everybody.